Hello, I am Ally Sherrick, and I am a time tunneler.
Maybe not worthy of Oscar-winning material. I think I might just stick to the writing instead. But seriously, if you wanted to star in your own play back in the day, back in the time of Queen Victoria, then you might have actually bought a toy theatre. Toy theatres became very popular, in fact, before Queen Victoria took to the throne, when they started to be produced by publishers of programmes for actual plays up in London. And these publishers produced sheets of characters and scenes based on the plays that were being performed in the main theatres in the city. And these sheets were sometimes published in black and white, so if you bought them you could colour them in yourselves, or they were sometimes hand coloured in advance. And if you bought the cheaper ones, the plain ones, then they were a penny, and if you bought the ones that were already hand coloured, then they were twopence or 2p. And artists used to sit in the main theatres in London, and they would actually draw out the scenes and the actors from life, even down to the expressions on their faces. And you would buy these theatre kits and put them on in your own theatre. Now you could make that yourself, or you could, if you were from a wealthy family, go to a shop and purchase a special wooden theatre, and sometimes those came with curtains and tiny little candles or oil lamps so that you could light your scenes. And you would cut out your characters once you'd finished colouring them in and stick them on bits of wood or wire, or sometimes on string, and you would use those and move them across the stage and create all these scenes. So they became very popular, and the sorts of plays that these theatres, these toy theatres used were plays called melodramas, which were very dramatic sort of plays. They were the sort of things that the early Victorians liked. Or they might be pantomimes, sometimes based on quite well-known fairy tales like Aladdin and his magic lamp. And basically you could stage your entire play using one of these toy theatres. They started to go out of fashion in the later Victorian times because plays became more realistic, and really that type of play didn't lend itself so well to all these amazing dramatic gestures and things that the actors showed. So in the end, gradually the companies that published the toy theatre kits went out of business, and there were really only a couple at the end of Victoria's reign still in business, including one run by a company called Pollock. And the man at the head of Pollock was Benjamin Pollock, and he carried on trading and publishing plays right up until the 1930s. And you can go and visit the Pollock's Toy Museum in London now, where you'll see some of these marvellous creations. And they were very popular with people that wrote for children during the time, and some of the famous authors of children's stories that loved toy theatres were people like Robert Louis Stevenson, Hans Christian Andersen, also Lewis Carroll, who of course wrote Alice in Wonderland, and Oscar Wilde, who wrote lots of fairy tales and of course plays for adults too. So my writing challenge for this week for you is a class activity actually, and the idea is that you take a favourite scene from one of the stories that you might have been reading in class, or a favourite book, and turn that into a little script for a miniature theatre. Create the miniature theatre, maybe from an old shoebox or something similar, and you can have great fun also creating your little characters, maybe by cutting out pictures from magazines, or actually hand drawing and colouring your own, and you might want to decorate them with bits of cloth or bits of foil like they used to do in those days, and then put on your play. Okay, happy writing!